for number 20, it says decide whether the graph with the given information is parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So for this one, I have an 8 and a 1/8. Well, these are not the same number, and they are not opposite reciprocals. They are reciprocals, but one is positive and the other is positive. They have to be opposite, positive and negative. So this doesn't fall in either category, so we say neither. If I look at 21, I would circle your slopes. So if I have a slope of 2, and I have a slope of -1/2. So they're not the same, so they're not parallel. They are reciprocals because 2 over 1 is 1/2 flipped. One's positive, one's negative, so they have to be perpendicular. Okay, but let's also give an example of parallel just so you have one. So if I gave you like m is 7, then you'd also have to have another one that says m is 7. So that would be if it was parallel. Okay, now 22 and 23 have to do with that same category of parallel, perpendicular. So 22, write an equation in point-slope form, it's given to you right here, of a line that is parallel to this equation and it passes through the point. So the point, that's easy, that's x1 and y1. I got to know what my slope is. So I look here at the equation and my slope is 3. That plus 9, that's just extra information that goes with the original equation. So if my slope is 3, and I'm talking about parallel lines, I keep it 3. Now I plug in my slope and my point into point-slope form, and that's it. So y minus 6, my slope stays the same, and then x minus 2. Okay, so make yourself a note. Parallel, same exact slope, don't change anything. But then in 23, we have perpendicular. So again, I find my slope, which is 1/4. I don't need the -8, and I can label my point x1 and y1. But if I'm talking about perpendicular, I have to change my slope. So I have to do the reciprocal, which means flip the fraction. So it becomes 4 over 1. If the fraction is positive 1/4, this is going to be the negative. And then I reduce if I can. So -4 divided by 1 is -4. So now I have my point, my new slope. Take this and plug it into this formula. And then as you can see, we're going to have a minus -3. So again, double negative becomes positive. So y minus 2 equals -4, parentheses, x plus 3. Okay, now we only have 3 left on the back, and then that's it. So for 24, it says write the inequality for the given graph. So y equals mx plus b. We're going to use these slope-intercept form to graph. So I'm going to need my m, my b, and I have to decide, is it less than, greater than, or is it the equal to parts? So first, so for my slope, I'm going to go up 3 over 3, and that would give me a positive 1. The b, where does the line cross the y-axis? And that would be at -2. So this is a 3-point problem, so this is how much you know currently right now. you could be able to fill in the slope-intercept form with your mx and your b, but I see here it's dashed. If it's dashed, it has to be one of these symbols. It can't have the line, so I get rid of these. Then I go back to where I begin, and I see that I shaded down. Okay, down is less. So I have a less than symbol. Then in 25, I would be doing the same thing. Find m, find b, and then decide what symbol you would be using for your inequality. So m, b. So for m, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. Then my b would be at -4 down here on the y-axis. So to figure out what symbol or inequality you'd be using, you go to where you start, and I see the shading is down. So that's going to be less than, but I have a solid line. Okay, so that means I'm going to have the equal to part. So I don't need these. And I would be looking at less than or equal to. Okay, and then the last problem has to do with our absolute value functions, which are our v-shapes. So for 26, it says graph the equation y equals the absolute value of x plus 3. I see that the number 3 is on the inside of the absolute value. If it's on the inside, you go to the opposite number on the x-axis. So I would be at -3 on x, and to draw the V shape, we go 2 or 3 points up and to the right 1. So up 1 and right 1, 2 or 3 times. And then whatever you do on this side, you must do the same on the other side. So I'm going to go up 1, left 1, 3 times, draw my V. So you get 2 points for drawing the V shape for the first graph, part A. But then part B says, if the graph is translated, which means shifted or moved, 4 units to the right, what would the equation be? So, go back up to the vertex of the V. Go 4 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I land at a positive 1. So if it's at a positive 1, down here, we have y equals the absolute value of x, and if this is a positive 1, we have to do the opposite, which is a negative 1. And then go ahead and just finish that V shape by going up 1, right 1, and then up 1, left 1. Draw your 2 rays, and then that would be it. But it is a big deal. You have to make sure that when you write the equation, you are putting the opposite number in the absolute value.